So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk again about the rate of change and slope. So this is our second day. So first of all, the definition of slope, okay, is the ratio. So ratio means what? Fraction, okay, of the change in y coordinates to the change in x coordinates. So up until this point we talked about rate of change. And rate of change we defined as being rise divided by run. Well, the slope is essentially the same thing, except for now instead of calling it rise, we're going to say the change in y coordinates. And instead of saying the run, we're now going to say the change in x coordinates. And so slope describes a rate of change. It also describes the steepness of a line. So depending on the values you get, that can indicate how steep a line actually is. And so where the steepness of a line comes into play, if any of you have ever been to Colorado, and they talk about, you know, when you're in the mountains and they talk about like a 7% grade or a 4% grade, that actually deals with the slope. Okay, and on some of those you notice they have like the runaway truck ramps. So if a truck gets going too fast and can't slow down, maybe its brakes give out, they can go up that truck ramp. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at this. The slope of a line through any 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2. Now for those of you who wonder, what does this mean? x1, y1 means 0.1. That's what the 1 indicates. Okay? x2, y2 means 0.2. That's what the 2 indicates. It's a little subscript. Okay? Can be found by m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So those of you trying to figure out what does that exactly mean. Here is my first point here. I'm just going to call the coordinates x1. Actually, I'm going to call the coordinates in this one 3, 3. The coordinates here are going to be what? 7. What's my y going to be?
9?
8. So now to find the slope or the rate of change between those, remember that was like on the graph, what you're going to do is you're going to find the rise divided by the run. So the rise is how far you go up or down. So in this case, how far do I go up between those 2 points?
5.
5. Now if you remember what I said, the run is how far I go left to right. How far is that?
4.
4. So my slope of this is going to be 5 divided by 4. Now we can get a negative slope. A negative slope means that the line either goes down or it goes to the left. But the slope there would be 5 over 4. So now let's try plugging it in that formula and see what comes up to for our answer. So in the formula here, y2 is going to be 8. What is y1 going to be? 3, because that's our first coordinate here. So 8 minus 3 divided by, what is my second x coordinate is 7, minus, what's my second x coordinate? 3. So I end up getting 8 minus 3, which is 5, divided by 7 minus 3, which is 4, which is the exact same thing we got right here. Okay? If I were you, I would write this formula down.
Good idea.
Write it down. This is something that my kids in Algebra 2 do. This is something that my kids in geometry will end up doing a little bit. And then also the kids in pre-calc will do that. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
What the little numbers do yesterday?
Can you wait till an example? So find the slope of the line that passes through negative 2, 0, and 1, 5. So negative 2, 0, and 1, oops, let's use the pen, sorry. So negative 2, 0, and 1, 5. Now what I need to do is find the slope. So an option is I could actually plot the points and do that thing that we just did visually, or I can use the formula. Here is the formula. Slope equals y2 minus y1. So in this case, 5 minus 0, divided by x2 minus x1. So 1 minus negative 2. So look again what I did. 5 minus 0 over 1 minus negative 2. So I subtracted the y's, subtracted the x's. That's all we did. So now 5 minus 0 we know is 5. 1 minus negative 2
3.
is the same as positive 3. So that is what your slope is. It is 5/3. Now if you can reduce this down, I expect you to reduce it down. Let's look at another one. Find the slope of the line that passes through negative 3, negative 1, and 2, negative 1. So our slope formula, m equals, what am I going to subtract first?
Negative 1 minus
Yep.
negative
Negative 1 minus negative 1. What am I going to subtract next?
2 minus
2 minus negative 3. Good. So now I just need to calculate that. So negative 1 minus negative 1.
0.
0, because remember the two negatives here make a positive, so I end up getting 0. In the denominator,
5.
I get 5. What is 0 divided by any number? 0. Right. So that is your answer. Yes, you can have a slope of 0. Okay. Now just for kicks, what happens if instead of that I got 5 divided by 0? What do you think your slope would be there?
5.
0.
5 over 0.
Can you ever divide by 0?
No.
Try it on your calculator. What do you get?
0.
What do you get when you do 5 divided by 0 on your
Math
calculator?
error.
You get an error because you can never divide by 0. It's one of those rules that you can never do. Okay? And this is actually what we call undefined. It's not defined. You cannot divide by 0. So if you get something like that, your answer is undefined. Alrighty, here you go. Your turn. I want you to find the slope of the line that passes through 3, 6, and 4, 8. 3, 6, and 4, 8. Find the slope.
Correct.
Please don't be completely fair.
How would we take that? Yeah, you don't have to.
You sure you
If it's over 1. I think it's right here.
Thanks for keeping me on my toes.
Okay, so let's see what y'all got. And the answer is 2. There you go. So how you get 2? Remember, we're going to take 8 minus 6 divided by 4 minus 3. Okay, 8 minus 6 divided by 4 minus 3, so you end up getting 2 over 1. Remember, one of the things I said is you need to reduce down if you can. 2 divided by 1, the answer is 2. Okay, here we go. Find the slope of the line that passes through negative 4, 2, and negative 2, 10. Negative 4, 2, and negative 2, 10.
crap, I gotta go back.
When you hit the delete button. Oh, yeah. Please do this with Cleveland 3.
Her shirt is really cute.
So our answer is 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and look. So in this one, I should have 10 minus 2 over negative 2 minus negative 4. Okay, so if I take 10 minus 2, I end up getting 8 divided by 2 negatives make a positive, so your answer should be 4.
It's not 2 minus
I don't know why I did. Yeah, I went,
It's
did
10
two.
minus 2 over
Yeah, I did
negative
2
2
minus
minus
10.
negative 4.
So I thought you always started with the first set of numbers you had.
Oh, I
You
did,
could, you'll still get the same answer. You'll still get
negative,
positive.
I did
So
negative
are you
4
supposed to
minus
start with the
negative
second
2.
one?
We always
we
do.
flipped the
Okay, the question is, okay, I started with the first set of numbers and I got the same answer. And that's fine, as long as you start with the same set of numbers each time. Okay, so you could either do 2 minus 10 over negative 4 minus negative 2, and you'll still get the same answer. Okay, it just matters that you start with the same point each time. The reason why we start with the second one is because 9 times out of 10, that's usually the formula that's used in a book. And so I kind of want to stay consistent with what you're going to see in future books, and so that's usually what the formula is. So let's go ahead and look at this one. Find the slope of the line that passes through. Negative 2, 3, and negative 2, negative 4.
Wow.
Oh, we have letters. Where do you get it from?
Can you get just numbers? Can you get just numbers?
You can do numbers, just make it numbers.
Because it has letters.
How do you get?
What?
They're just the numbers.
Okay, so let's see what you got.
Stupid.
And the answer is
Oh.
undefined. Nice
I
job.
thought it was.
Okay.
Spell it
Now
wrong?
remember, the correct answer is actually undefined. I know some of you couldn't quite remember, and that's fine. How you got that again? Okay, remember we take negative 4 minus 3 over negative 2 minus negative 2. When you do that, you end up getting negative 7 over 0. Now that's not 0. The answer is undefined. All right, so now, real quick, let's go over a quick review of slope. Slope, if you have a positive slope, that means the graph's going to go up. Okay, you should think about something. You know, if your stocks are going up in a positive way, that's what the graph's going to look like. If something goes down, you've seen that when the stock market crashed, what did the graphs do? They went straight down. Okay, that's a negative slope. A slope of 0, that's a horizontal line, and so remember we did have one of those. And that's what the line looks like. It doesn't go up or down, it stays constant, so that has a slope of 0. And then an undefined slope is something that goes up and down, a vertical line, okay? And the relation here is not a function. So those are what you need to be able to identify. You need to identify what does a positive slope look like? What does a negative slope look like? What does a slope of 0 look like? and what does an undefined slope look like. Okay. All right, so the very last thing we're going to do is we're going to look at two examples like this. The first one says find the value of r so that the line through 1, 4 and negative 5r has a slope of 1/3. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to deal with these 2 points, and I'm going to subtract, just like I did normally. So I'm going to take, in this case, r minus 4. What am I going to divide by? Negative 5 minus 1. Now, I want that to equal 1/3.
And then you cross
So what
it.
ends up happening is, I end up having a proportion. This is something we've looked at before. Remember, with proportions, we can cross multiply. Biggest thing you need to remember here is that I need to put the r minus 4 in parentheses. Okay? Over here, I'm going to have negative 5 minus 1, and I'm going to take that times 1. Now, do I need to write the 1? Probably
No.
not. I mean, because we all know that anything times 1 is the number itself. But now what I need to do is distribute the 3. So I end up getting 3r minus 12 equals. So over here, what is negative 5 minus 1? Negative 6. And if I take that times 1, I get negative 6. So I need to solve this equation. So in order to solve it, I'm going to go ahead and add 12 to both sides. So I end up getting 3r to equal 6. Now what do? Divide by 3. So what do we get r to equal?
2.
2. Okay, so we're going to look at another one of those because obviously I think that's a little tougher. And so we're going to make sure that we've got that down. So let's look at the next one here.
This one's a problem.
Find the value of r so that the line through r, negative 6, and 5, negative 8 has a slope of negative 8. So very first thing, I'm going to do negative 8 minus negative 6. Over what?
5 minus r.
5 minus r, and that's going to equal
Negative 8 over 1.
negative 8. And I'm going to write that as negative 8 over 1 so that I can use my proportion like I've done before. So then now all we're going to do is cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply here, and I get negative 8 minus negative 6. Oops. Negative 8 minus negative 6. And I'm going to take that times 1. And then that's going to equal, oops, negative 8 times 5 minus r. So on the left side, what is negative 8 minus negative 6?
2.
Negative 2. And if I take that times 1, I get negative 2. On the right side, what do I need to do?
Distribute.
Distribute. So I end up getting negative 40 plus 8r. Now, some of you are wondering, where does the plus come from? I've got negative 8 times negative r. Next step, what do?
Oh, add 40 to.
Add 40 to both sides. Very good. So I end up getting 38 to equal 8r. Now what I need to do is go ahead and divide by 8. Now, if you notice that doesn't come out evenly, so what we need to do is reduce that down. What number goes into both 38 and 8? 2. 2 goes into 38 19 times. 2 goes into 8? 4. So our answer is r equals 19 over 4. Questions? All right, so what you need to do, add these next problems to your current assignment. So just go ahead and tack them on to the very end, 24 through 39. So 24 through 39, now remember, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. Chances are you're probably going to be looking at a quiz. So